All right, here we go. Baseball and coffee, 10 a.m. on Thursday. I thought I had golf today. Turns out that's next week. So next Thursday will probably be baseball after dark instead of baseball and coffee. Um, so yeah, we're gonna get right into it. I already have a couple things already requested here by Miss Jane Goodrich. So first, we'll quickly do the standings, and then we'll go for there. Quick answer to that question, Ian, is I like iced Americanos. That's like my favorite. So just espresso with ice. Sometimes you add water to water it down a little bit if it's too strong, but for the most part, I like it strong. So a couple shots of espresso over ice uh, is my jam. That's my usual jam. Kind of a weird ad there, but all right, we'll skip that. All right, let's do the standings real quick. Because we are in the thick of it for real now. Blue Jays 4 games up in the AL East. I feel like they have it wrapped up, but the Yankees, if they were to play, I don't know, 7-3 the rest of the way, they have 10 games left. 7-3, 8-2. There's a world in which Toronto could collapse, but we'll see. Detroit somehow only 4.5 up on Cleveland. They continue to play Cleveland, so Cleveland can keep drawing closer and closer. That also feels over, but you never know. Houston now with their big win yesterday after they sweep the Rangers. They pretty much end the Rangers, I think, and they jumped the Mariners by half game. Mariners finally lost. They had won 10 in a row. They did not get to number 11. Phillies we know about. We know about both of these teams, Brewers and Cubs. The division's not technically clinched yet, but looking good for the Brewers. And then the Dodgers, who had a nice win last night. We're going to watch Blake Snell again. He's been a theme because I think he's going to be super important to pay attention to for the playoff reasons. They won, Padres won, so that stays the same at 2. Now, the wild card is where it continues to kind of be interesting, not so interesting, interesting, not so interesting. I think we're still in the interesting part here because in the American League, Cleveland, they're 9-1 in the last 10. They've won 6 in a row. Is it possible for one of these two teams, Boston or Seattle, to lose out to Cleveland? I feel like those are much better teams than Cleveland, certainly by run differential. I mean, Cleveland's a negative 25 on the year, so I just thought I wrote Cleveland off a long time ago when they lost Class A. So we'll see. Rangers now 4.5. They're looking like their season's over. Royals are definitely done. They kind of faded out of contention. And in the National League, this has gotten interesting because all three teams chasing the Mets are still kind of hanging around. Diamondbacks, game and a half back. They have to play the Phillies now. Not ideal, but at least the Phillies are all clinched up. Reds, 2 back. They play the Cubbies now. Cubbies are all clinched up. That could help them. And then the Giants, who are in the middle of a stretch where they're about to play the Dodgers, and the Dodgers have something to play for. That's not necessarily great. All right, so that's where we're at with the standings. I want to hit Jane's questions first because she wrote them down in the chat before we even started. So realistically, that's what this show's all about. It's giving the people what they want, investigating some things. So her questions in the chat. Number one was about Giolito mentioning the other day on the when we were having our conversation about being a little bit under the weather. And do players play sick all the time? Yes, actually, way more than you would think. It seems like because of all the travel, there's a lot of respiratory stuff going around all the time. Guys always have runny noses, allergies. Honestly, allergies were a huge problem for me in spring training every year, whether I was in Arizona or Florida. Just reacclimating, the kind of like the seasons are changing. I would get like this awful hay fever that I couldn't really deal with. A lot of spring trainings, and I even twice I made the mistake of taking allergy medication before pitching in spring training, and like I was really foggy out there on the mound. I don't know if anybody's ever experienced that with allergy medication, but foggy to the point where I couldn't compete, couldn't focus. Even the game I had this year in spring training that probably torpedoed my chances with the Red Sox. I was fighting my allergies really bad. I went out there. I had no compete. I just couldn't lock in. Gave up like 6 or 7 runs in a game against the Phillies this year in spring, and then that was kind of it. But yes, and I can tell you that I remember one time vividly. It was my first year with the Rockies, 2012. We went to go play the Reds. We had an off day, so I went to like a Six Flags type place near Cincinnati. Maybe somebody in the chat knows. Kings Park, does that sound right? Rode roller coasters all day with a few guys. Ate, funnel cake and did a bunch of dumb shit. And then the next day at the field, I was sick. I was shivering all day. I didn't go play catch. I didn't do anything at the field. I literally sat in sweatpants in my locker in that Cincinnati clubhouse and shivered and had cold sweats the entire day. Obviously, I was going to play. Ended up pitching and pitched a good 7th inning in like a 1-run game. Somehow mustered enough energy to do it. So you would never know if you're watching on TV, but I had like the flu. I was like deathly sick. So anyway, that's kind of how that works. And the severity and how it affects you, I think it all just kind of depends on case by case. All right, and then she wants us to go look at Luis Perales. He had a 3-inning strikeout. Oh, this was in AAA. They said no fastballs. So Luis Perales, we have to look into him a little bit. I don't know too much about him, to be fair. Luis Perales. So he's a Red Sox prospect. Okay, number 9 prospect coming back. I probably would have seen this guy in spring training, I guess, but we never conversed. He probably wasn't healthy. So is this a guy that we're hoping can impact the team down the lane? Okay, so looking at the scouting grades, fastball 70 grade fastball. Wow. 55 slider, 50 cutter, 60 splitter. So stuff-wise, they're saying it's out of control. And then also control-wise, he's below average according to this. Venezuelan dude. He's throwing 95, 98, touches 99, flat approach angle, huge carry up in the zone. I don't really think I have any video on him to get my own opinion yet, but I'd be excited to watch this guy pitch. Thanks for the question. Interesting that he threw no fastballs, considering they're giving him a 70 scouting grade on his fastball. So, I don't know. Good question. I'd love to know more. I'm sorry I can't come through with that. I don't have access to the minor league video, I don't think. Although maybe. I got this MLB research tool. See if I can find Luis Perales active. Oh, we're going to click him. See if there's anything here. Oh, 3 out inning. Yeah, Kings Island. I think that's the answer. While I do this, do you admit to being sick to the managers if you think it's gonna affect you? But again, like it's so hard to just. It's honestly it's so hard to. Your mentality is so bulletproof. Like I'm playing no matter what. I'm good no matter what. So you just don't think about it very much. All right, so we got nothing for Perales. We're coming up empty on that. All right, so let's move ahead. I'll get in the chat for a second, and we'll kind of get my bearings of which direction we want to go. What I had written down, obviously, Verlander had a big start. That was playoff worthy yesterday for the Giants in that big series versus the Diamondbacks. Blake Snell, I'm sure people have seen the clip of him basically telling Dave Roberts to beat it back to the dugout. He finishes it, 112 pitches. This is something that we didn't think Blake Snell could do. He was the short sprint starter. Anyway, he's looking great. That's big for the Dodgers. And then Grisham. We got to talk about Trent Grisham. But I do see here in the chat, when's the last time the Jays won the East? When is the last time the Blue Jays won the East? I'm sure somebody in the chat will figure that one out. We got a question about Doval. You've gone from being the 9th inning guy to a high leverage guy. Could it be the new team mound staff? So first of all, Doval looked incredible last night. We can go take a peek at his video. I thought it's the best he looked. Granted, he's pitching with a big lead. It's got there's a little bit of an oddity to his game that makes him not as dominant as you think he would be. And we'll get into that in a minute. We got some complaints about that there's no post August 1st, like cleaned up, super clean leaderboards and stuff. That would be nice. Do I think I could be pitching in the big leagues now? Yep. I mean, no doubt. But I'm not, and I don't make those decisions. And I'm okay with it. Other people agree with the allergy meds. Before the more serious stuff, if you could grow a pitcher in a lab, what mix would you give him? So this is a tough question. This is a really good question. Thank you, Stefan. Uh, what would I personally want right now? I feel like this is always changing. So first, he'd be left-handed. I think I would give him a similar cutting four seam and sinker arsenal, similar to like what Max Fried has. That would be my lefty fastball. Then I would say from a slider perspective, although if I could go individual pitches, I think it would be like a Framber Valdez sinker and a I got to think about the lefty four seam. Maybe Crochet. It's not cutty, but that's a very good four seam. And then like presentation, I think I would want to be Crochet, like really big. I think that would help. Just so you have good extension, ball rides through the zone, a little bit of angled attack. So that would be my presentation. Lefty slider, I'd say prime Kershaw. That's the best one. Tunnels off the fastball, especially if you have a little cut on your heater. I still haven't figured that out yet, but if you have a little cut on your heater, tunnel off that. Curveball, I'm going to say Blake Snell. Curveball, but I'd also like to have a Rich Hill curveball, if that's fair too. That I could throw the really big slow one, and then I could throw the sharp Blake Snell banger off that. So now I'm thinking all lefties, and I should probably steal something from a righty. So then on top of that, you give me a Devin Williams airbender or a Trey Savage splitter, although it doesn't really matter that because that angle wouldn't play the same. So we'll do a Kodai Senga ghost fork or Fernando Cruz ghost fork. You know, this could go on and on all day, but I like all those guys. They have great stuff. All right, what else we got here? Do I still talk to Bud Black? No, but every time we would play the Rockies, I'd always chatted up with him. I like the fact that he was a pitcher. Obviously, that gives me hope for managing. But, you know, different eras. We're different humans. Adam, your thoughts on Kyle Bradish? I love Kyle Bradish, although Tyler Wells has also pitched pretty well, to your point. And we're here to watch baseball, so let's just go ahead and do that. I want to start with Grisham, and then we'll go look at Doval, since we're already talking about Yankee stuff. And I covered the Yankees the last 3 nights on Yes, pre and post, so I watched a ton of this stuff. Let's just go right to the game. Then we can go investigate Grisham a little bit, because like 30, how many homers he got now? 33 homers? Kind of crazy. So let's just watch all 3 at-bats versus Taj Bradley, and you get to see how locked in Trent Grisham is. Now, he strikes out in this first at-bat, but he doesn't let that get him down. So let's watch the whole shebang. Taj came out of the gate throwing some sick heaters last night. Like, this is a 20 ball, vert-wise at 96.4. He's got the short arm stroke. It's not great extension, but Taj Bradley had a stretch with the Rays where I thought he was about to take off and be that dude. Now somehow he's on the Twins. He's kind of in a competition here. So the first 2 fastballs of the game, now this caught my attention. First 2 fastballs of the game, he blows by Trent. Trent's a good fastball hitter. Trent loves a 4-seam fastball. And immediately Trent kind of resets his mind. And he talked a little bit after the game about how it's daily work for him to be as locked in as he's been. See, he thinks about it, takes a deep breath, and then takes his time out right there, 0-2. Completely resetting his brain. Okay, this guy's bringing the noise today. I have to rise to the occasion here a little bit. I got to recalibrate. This is some hardball happening today. All right, 0-2 pitch. He gets a 3rd heater. This one's way too high, non-competitive. And here comes the split. This was the pitch that the Twins actually sent Taj Bradley down to work on. It does not have good shape to it. Vertically, 11.3 on it. That is way too much carry for a split. Very weird pitch. Does have speed. Doesn't even have speed differential. 93 mile an hour split. So it's just a very weird pitch. I think they're going to keep working on that. But anyway, he tries to throw it in there. If anything, it's not a fastball. And Trent does foul it away here. Comes back with the heater again. Probably had him frozen. Doesn't get the call. And then actually throws him an incredible, almost 21-inch 4-seam vert here to beat him. So it's a fastball attack the first time through, except for the one split. And he throws him some super fastballs in this at bat. So, first round, advantage Bradley. And this is even a bad pitch, down in. But if you watch the body language on Trent when they show him, he gives a little look like, man, okay, I got beat by that fastball. Now, typically, if you get dominated that much by the fastball, you're likely to make almost an over adjustment into the second at bat. So I expected him, quite frankly, to come out and be very anxious to get the foot down early and get out in front of a fastball. And I would have been totally wrong, because that's not where Trent Grisham is right now. He's in a zen place. He's in a different place. And so watch at bat number 2, which starts with a curveball, which if you're a Twins fan watching and you're wondering about Taj Bradley, he should be throwing a lot more curveballs. This is his elite pitch, in my opinion. Power curveball, tight, straight up and down, off the fastball, plays really well. Ultimately, this is a horrible miss with it, and maybe that's why we don't see enough of it, but he could have done a lot better in this game if he spammed curveballs to some of these Yankees lefties. Instead, he tried to throw a lot of fastballs and cutters, and it did not go well. So here, 1-0 curveball up. Again, I'd still be thinking fastball. Instead, he goes to the split. It's another one with bad shape, but again, Trent Grisham, not over anxious on the fastball, stays in his approach, stays in his stance, and he's able to take advantage of a bad split and drive it out to right center with a very short swing for the 2-run homer. 104.1 at 26. Just a really good job. He stays in his legs. He didn't get too domed up by that fastball. He felt like, I don't need to make any drastic changes. I can still sit here. He's going to give me something to hit. Sure enough, he gets the changeup. And this comes on the heels of the previous night. Trent got 2 extra base hits on changeups. One was pulled hard off the right field wall in the first inning, and then there was a changeup hit later for a home run. Both of those were off of Zebby Matthews. So now he's got 3 consecutive extra base hits off of changeup or splitters, which are kind of the same thing, back-to-back nights. And kind of a bad read by Taj Bradley here. Why are you not sticking with the fastball if it looks so good that first at-bat? So anyway, big advantage Trent Grisham in at-bat number 2. As he goes ahead and hits his 32nd home run. So now they come back up around again later for a third at-bat. This time, the Yankees have a 1-run lead, and there's 2 outs in this inning, 2 guys on. So this pretty much won the game for the Yankees. You would think that this would be a fastball attack the whole way through, and that you would be able to read this at-bat. But let's watch how it progresses. Once again, goes with the curveball. Once again, misses, gets to the 1-out count. This time, he does come back to the fastball. Caballero just takes second without even a throw. And Bradley's basically telling us, I'm locked in on the hitter. Forget the base runners. I get this hitter out. No more runs score. End of story. So he gets to 1-1. And to this point, he was doing a good job. He's like, you know what? I do think the fastball's the play to Trent. This one's middle, slightly up. Trent takes a vicious hack at it, and guess what? He's way under it, way late on it. The pitch has great carry to it, and he still hasn't proven to me he can hit my fastball yet. 1-2 count, goes with even better fastball. Doesn't locate it well, but this ball had 21.2 inches of vert on it, and it was 97, and again, Trent's under it, right? If I'm pitching here, you got to be aware of the fact that he hit a changeup off me, splitter, changeup, whatever, off me the last time for a homer. He's homered on off-speed pitches the rest of the time as well in this series. So I would continue to work the fastball more up. Now, he keeps making the mistake of making the miss down with it. It worked out for him that first time. But if I'm him, I'm getting to this area right here. He hasn't shown me that he can get on top of my fastball yet. And he has shown me how good he is on off-speed pitches. But that's not what they do. They instead try to use this down fastball as a tunnel for a curveball down. Honestly, if you've been watching this tapes, it's actually a pretty good second idea. Like, if you're not going to stick with the fastball, you say, okay, we got him engaged on a fastball down. He'll chase a curveball below the zone and we'll punch his ticket. So the read and what they went with, even though it's not the perfect read, it's a pretty good read. And also, if you watch Trent here, Trent is a little bit perplexed because he knows that's a good pitch to hit. And if you see, yeah, you see the little head nod that he makes here. So he fouls it, and then if you watch his face here, he gives a little, huh, damn, I'm still not on that fastball. Honestly, when I saw that live, my pitcher brain said, now he's got to commit to the fastball. So that's why I wanted to throw a chase fastball up. They see it and they say, we're going to go curveball down. But this is where Trent Grisham has become a hitter that, honestly, I never saw coming. Because he actually does throw a curveball below the zone. Well, bottom of the zone. And yet, Trent stays back on it, rides it out for a 3-run homer. 100.7 at 27, pretty much ends the game. That's the crippler. Taj Bradley can't believe it. He's probably feeling like he hung it. And he did to some extent. But it's not that bad. It's not that hung. It's pretty down. It's pretty down. They were right to assume that they could generate a swing. Obviously, he needs to get this ball into the dirt to get the put away. But you got to give credit to Trent. After all those fastballs, he didn't allow it to affect his timing, his flow at the plate. He still laid in the weeds. He knew that the off-speed was a pitch he could do damage on. And then he gets it and he doesn't miss it. And it's a short swing. You know, the days of like needing this huge big follow-through seem to be over. Guys are just like kind of stopping their swings here. And still cracking homers. So Trent Grisham, I don't know if anybody saw it coming because I certainly didn't. I always respected him. I always thought he was a great fielder. Really good eye at the plate. That was kind of his, his MO as a ball player. But then you go ahead and you fast forward to this year. And he's taken this opportunity and really run with it. 33 home runs. 825 OPS. Locked down the leadoff spot for the Yankees. Huge piece hitting in front of Judge. I just don't know where this team would be without him. The quality of his at-bats are going to make a huge difference in the big games that are yet to come, because if he's on base or doing damage, that just sets up the Yankees so well for success. You know, it's all about what happens before and around and after Judge, you know, with the Yankees. If you can go ahead and attack Judge, without having to worry too much, that's ideal. Or if you fall behind him and you know you can pass the baton and get that next guy out, that's also ideal as a team facing the Yankees. But if Bellinger's hitting behind him and Grisham's getting on before him, life becomes a lot harder, and you're likely to see more of what we've seen the last 2 nights from the Yankees, which is basically offensive explosions all over the place. It all comes down to that dynamic surrounding Judge, though. Judge has so much gravitational force and pull with his situation in the box. You're aware of him a couple batters before he comes up, and you're aware of him after because he's on base all the time. So you have to deal with the possibility of multi-run homers and different defensive alignments because now you have guys on base. So I really wanted to show love to Trent Grisham. Took him a little while to get to this point. Started with the Brewers, had that embarrassing moment where the ball kind of snaked on him, got under his glove in the wild card game, 2019. Brewers end up losing that game. Washington goes on to win the World Series. He goes to the Padres. Kind of does okay. I mean, let's go look at it. Kind of does okay. Gets in the Soto trade. Circles around. Ends up in the Pinstripes. First year, doesn't get a lot of playing time. Only 209 play appearances last year. A 190 average for 3 consecutive seasons, under 200 batting average. Sorry, guys. And then this year, he flips the script completely with 33 nukes. Previous high is 17 in 2022. Always been a positive WAR player, especially because of the defensive ability. 2-time Gold Glover. But I think the mustache has gotten better, and so has the offensive approach. 128 OPS plus. Huge value for the Yankees. All right, so that's it on Grish. I felt like that was good. We should go watch Doval, though, because we had a question in the chat. I just want to show, well, first we'll pull him up. And then I just want to show you the way he looked last night. So here's Camilo. Everything's really good, except for the walk rate is like actually quite a bit of a red flag, and this is like the main thing that hurts him. But also his stuff is just a little weird, and we'll get into that when we watch the video. All right, so first batter is Buxton. It's a 98-mile-an-hour cutter. This is his four seam. And what's weird about it is for guys who throw primary four seam cutters, generally the vert will be like higher than 11.1. They'll be working with like a really high vert value. And so like that's kind of like the amazing thing is the ability to carry it but not run it at all. This one just has like low average vert. A lot of that is a product of his arm slot. He's basically a sidearm pitcher. If you look at this this release right here, this is where the hand is. It's basically sidearm. I think he's like 8 degrees or something like that, which we'll check in a minute. So there's no way you're going to create any vert, but this is the full definition of a rotational pitcher. Kick the arm out and just whip this thing like you're skipping rocks at the lake or something. And he slangs it. Now, it's 98. So it's 98 from a crazy arm angle. So that in and of itself is hard to hit. But metrically, it's not doing a ton to get over bats. So here's the slider. This is probably his best pitch because it features plus velocity and plus movement in both planes. And he gets a really good miss out of Buxton there. And now he's 0-2. Now he comes back with the cutter. 101 dotted on the corner. So here's a 3-pitch punchy, and this is what it looks like when he's amazing. He comes in, he pounds the zone, he forces swings. It's a weird shape. You're likely to have weak contact when you're facing this guy. And then obviously the velocity plays. 101 miles an hour is going to play all the time. The issue is most of the time he's not 0-1. Most of the time he's 1-0, and they're not really competitive. And so he gives the hitter a lot better chance to kind of get used to what he's doing, and they can be more discerning on what type of pitches they have to swing at. But this outing last night was very encouraging because, for the most part, he's competitive with everything. Even that slider, 0-0, it's below the zone, but it's competitive. Comes right back to it, drops it in for a strike. So now he's pitching backwards. There's a lot to like when you're watching this outing last night. Now he comes, fills up the zone with that cutter again, and ends up popping up Austin Martin, who's actually been quietly playing very well for the Twins, and gets a quick second out. Third batter, Trevor Larnach, who actually had a pretty good series. And what does he do here? He comes and gets a 0-1 strike right away. So it's really just process stuff with Doval. Can they get him dialed in enough to be 0-1 a lot and be in the count a lot? Get to 1-2. The race to 2 strikes, which what I mean by that is getting 2 of the first 3 pitches in there for strikes is so critical for every pitcher. But when a guy has command problems like Doval, it's critical that he gets ahead. Otherwise, he's going to throw a lot of pitches that are either going to be non-competitive, easy takes for walks, or since he doesn't have command to live on the edges, he's going to throw a lot of stuff down the middle in dangerous counts. But here's the slider. You can see at times, wipeout. Larnach's nowhere near that, and he's nowhere near this last pitch of the game either. Beautiful. So it's a little bit of a weird arsenal in that you would think that a dude with this arm slot, so it's 16 degrees. I was 25, so this is an additional 9 below me, and I always thought like I was pushing sidearm. To me, this is full sidearm. It is a little weird that you don't see more sinkers, and that's something that I think maybe you'll see in the future, because he's very likely to have a crazy amount of arm side run with that slot. The thing, though, is when you pitch this style and you're this effectively wild or ineffectively wild at times, it's really hard to trust you in close games. He struggles with the pitch clock. He struggles with runners. He struggles with command. So those are all things that give the other team the ability to just sit there and let you kind of self-destruct. And then it doesn't take much. Like, granted, you're not going to be hitting homers off this guy. You're not going to be stringing together a ton of hits. But he's also not super dominant with strikeouts either. Now I'm curious about this sinker break. So this is disappointing. Only 7.5 inches of horizontal break on the sinker. You would think with that arm slot they could teach him. He must have a very strong supination bias coming through with the hand. You would think you'd be able to teach him a pretty devastating running ball going the other way, and then you just move him over to the third base side and let him run balls across the whole plate like a Justin Lawrence or Joe Smith back in the day, or you know, Tanner Houck, like a lot of guys who have the low slot. But unfortunately, only 7.5 inches of horizontal, so it's a really weird pitch. And that's the thing, the stuff's just weird. It doesn't create enough whiff at the end of the day to overcome the walk total. So he's a valuable guy. He's a guy that he's one unlock away from being unbelievable. Again, like he was when he was younger and people hadn't seen him, he's still close. He's one unlock away, but he's also much more prone to the self-destruction than most guys are because that walk rate and, again, the other issues he has with the running game. I mean, he's no Ottavino, but he's not good. And certainly also the pitch clock and balking, things like that have been an issue as well. So it's hard to trust a guy when he has some Achilles heels. Trust me, I would know. That's kind of where Doval's at right now. All right, let's hop over to the solo shot and see what you guys are talking about. As it pertains, Spectre says that he had a bad read by Bradley. Read the hitter's swing, fouls it off, tells you early or late, whiffs or whiffs, abuse it until they hit it. I mean, I just think, yeah, like he hadn't shown that he could get on one fastball yet. So keep creeping those up a little bit. That was my read on it. Also, I guess if he gets that curveball to dirt, probably works. So sometimes there's two answers. Bellinger, all right, they're talking Yankees off-season stuff. We'll get to that in the off-season. Oh, and then there's some talk about the ball having more drag. That affects everything always too. There are definitely players that their games are better with drag or with less drag. That's for sure. Yeah, he has some non-competitive at-bats. We're talking about Doval. So I feel like I said it really well there. I don't think he's changed his delivery much. I think he's always been this violent, and it's what makes him unique. Like, the ball comes out of nowhere, and it's slung. It's actually really fun. Like, I think a lot of players would like to throw this way. It probably feels really good. But it's also really hard to throw strikes. Like, your margin for error is so much less when your arm's coming through side to side to time it up to keep it in a vertical plane. Like, if you're coming over the top, you just lay your hand right in the zone, you bring it straight through the zone. It's going to be hard to miss east-west. You just got to time it up from the whole top of the zone to the bottom of the zone to get it in the box. But when you're coming this way, yeah, you can maybe do it north-south. You could do the same trick, but I feel like the timing's a lot trickier, the window to keep it east-west when your arm's coming here. It's like, these are all balls, that's a strike, then these are all balls. So it's like, you got to have that perfect release. Doval is really pushing that line. You've seen guys do it, Chris Sale, etc., but Doval doesn't have the feel like that, it feels like. Also, the shape of his pitches is a little wonky, as we just went over. We're talking about Kawhi Leonard now in the bottom. Okay, I saw that there was a part 4 to that. The story thickens, the plot thickens. Okay, so that is what went down in that Yankee game. They ended up winning that series against the Twins. Now they go play the Orioles. All three teams in the AL East got to keep winning, so it's fascinating to watch that. The Circle of Trust watch for these teams' bullpens is fully on right now. Helsley had a scoreless inning for the Mets last night. You know, it was Stanek who got clipped for the run, so you know you start to reorganize these thoughts on a daily basis this time of year in terms of bullpen usage. Who's trusted? Looks like Devin Williams is back in the circle firmly. I'd say ahead of Doval. For the Yankees, it looks like it's Bednar, it's Weaver, and Williams are the top three. And again, this is just so fluid. And since I've lived it, I think it's fascinating this time of year to see how a guy can be trusted or not trusted so fast. All right, so huge game yesterday was the Giants and the Diamondbacks. The oldest man in the game, 42-year-old Verlander, who's actually, don't look now, but he has a 3.75 this season. And the season was on the brink. They're playing the Diamondbacks, which is now the team that they're behind, one of the teams they're behind in the wild card race. And they needed JV to step up, and boy, did he step up. He goes 7 shutout yesterday versus the Diamondbacks. They end up pulling it out in extra innings in a game that they had to have. But I thought we should watch him because he's been making some adjustments to his game. Even if you just look at this right here, he's a 5-pitch pitcher now. Even JV has come around in the year of the mix. When I played with him, he was pretty steadfast on being a four-seam slider, occasional curveball, and then like towards the end of the year, he was thinking of bringing the changeup back, but he didn't throw very many of them. The sweeper's all brand new. Like that's a pitch that I didn't think I'd ever see out of him, given his slot. So that's the breakdown, and we'll go take a look at it. It was in the desert, I believe, at the old Chase Field. Let's watch JV. Fott also threw really, really well in this game. Yeah, in the desert. Geraldo Perdomo, sneaky, one of the MLB WAR leaders this year. I'm assuming that's on all-around game because I haven't noticed him at the top of too many hitting leaderboards. But then again, I haven't watched much Snakes. I was going to get Ketel Marte with the curveball. So 3 pop-ups. That's all of JV's outs are pop-ups, and this is really the ones he likes. Is fastball up, popped it up. One interesting thing that I learned and I realized while playing with him, I always liked being a ground ball pitcher. I felt like that kept my slug down. But when you watch a truly elite fly ball pitcher, like a guy who gets his outs like this, pop-ups, the batting average on these is way worse than ground balls. Yeah, ground balls have no slug, but they go through the hole all the time. Guys hit ground balls pretty hard. Pop-ups, like as long as they're not over the fence, they're getting caught all the time. So you can see why you can get in some really good stretches as a fly ball pitcher. All right, so here's the first hit, curveball. Little hanger there, but 2-1. He's just trying to get it in the zone. Kid goes the other way. And now we got James McCann, former catcher of mine with the Metros. Keep forgetting that he's on the Diamondbacks. Holy shit, he swung and the ball hit him. He's saying no. Oh, we got a good replay. That hit straight hand. So you strike out and hit it off your own hand? Oh, how did he not break a finger there? Let's watch it full speed. I guess that's an auto swing. Anyway, it looks like they review it, and he is indeed out. All right, 3rd inning. That hurt. Another pop-up. Another can of corn. So the pop-up game is working here so far. Here's another one, Tim Tawa. Another guy, great name. Never seen him play. Great name. Another pop-up. Rafi's over there. And then finally a ground out. Jake McCarthy. So first time through the order, pretty much all pop-ups for JV. 4th inning. There's that man. Geraldo Perdomo gets it started with a single here. 92 there. So JV, famously able to turn up the dial, turn down the dial on the fastball, pretty much at will, which is amazing. Going to get another fly out here from Ketel. This one, 20.5 vert on this fastball from JV. Outstanding. And these outfielders have been busy, just catching weak pop-ups. Corbin Carroll walk. Ooh, this was a big moment. 1st and 2nd, 3-2 count. Moreno. Hit this ball pretty good. Good track down by Gilbert. Gets it in. So Arizona sneaky big out there in center. That's 104-1. Didn't hit it high enough, but good play by Gilbert. Gives himself a chance to get out of it here. And it's going to be a Blaze Alexander strikeout. Let's see the strikeout pitch. Ooh, it's a fastball. Gets him up top, 94-3. Good pitch, good chase pitch. Nice job there. 5th inning. James McCann, he's still playing. despite taking a ball to the knuckles. Pretty good swing here, but not enough on that. 95-9, another fly out. Here's a ground out. Changeup. High changeup. JV is more of the changeup of, it's not a movement type game. It's more just like, it's going to look like my fastball, but you're going to be out front type of game. So high changeup can work sometimes with that approach. Giolito, Marco Estrada, etc., etc. Verlander kind of using that effect right there. Gets the out. There's a walk of Tawa, and then Jake McCarthy's going to fly out. So another fly out. A lot on the slider, too. This is a really good play by Gilbert. Gilbert ran a long way, and he's juiced. Let's watch this again. I'm going to pause it when I turn around. Okay, so he is on the left side of second base. Let's see where this ball ends up. Catches it all the way over there at the 413. So he starts here, ends all the way over here. Great jump off this ball by Drew Gilbert, former Tennessee Volunteer. And a big play. Verlander loves it. That's awesome. When you can be like 22 or whatever Gilbert is, and then you got a 20-year-old, a guy 20 years older than you on the mound celebrating you, that's awesome. So great play there. Gets him to the 6th. Here's Perdomo. Pops him up. Really good location up in. How many infield pop-ups? I've seen at least 5. At least 5. Now, here's a single. This play's overturned, so I'm thinking Chapman makes a great effort on it. Yeah. Oh, bobbled it just a hair. Way to leg it out by Alexander. So he ends up getting called safe. McCann comes up. Here's the first out on a sweeper we've seen. Gets him off the end of the bat, though. So really good job. Keeps him just off the barrel enough. And then Alek Thomas. And just another fly ball out for JV. But this is what he was doing all day. 7 shutout innings when they needed it. Because they didn't score until the extra innings either. They end up exploding in the 11th. Off of, I believe, John Curtis. My old teammate with the Mets. Bryce Eldridge draws a walk. So this is the big prospect. I've been waiting to do maybe a watching video on this guy. Maybe once he gets to like 30, 40 ABs. Because he's a mountain of a man. Look at the size of this guy. It's just like a lefty Richie Sexson. But curious to watch him swing it. So he walks. Gerard Encarnacion, former Marlin. Little blooper over the infield. Gets the party started. But this is the issue sometimes when you're the home team in the extra innings. You're not able to stop a crazy inning happening. Because even this hit right here. You know, now they're trying to cut down. They have guys a lot of position. So now this is a blooper. They can't get there. Perdomo, good effort. Doesn't make the play, though. But, again, like just because of the more traffic on there, you're more susceptible to some bloopers, some batted ball luck, or bad luck. And in this case, it leads to a huge crooked inning because now Cost doubles here of John Curtis. And now it's a huge inning. And now they don't have to worry about that ghost runner or designated runner in the bottom half anymore. They can just attack it regularly. So Cost with the big swing here. This ends the game, puts it out of reach. Huge win for the Giants, keeps them in it. Diamondbacks were this close to being like a half game back, and I believe they'd still play the Mets. So that would have been interesting. But Verlander, man, great job. All the pop-ups is crazy. Pop-up, 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 pop-up. Very interesting. Let me see if they have any of that info in the box score here. You know, these MLB box scores aren't as detailed as they are on the site where they give you the pitches and the strikes and whatever. But Verlander, yeah, you saw it. There was maybe, 2 ground ball outs, a couple strikeouts for the rest. He ends up getting 3 strikeouts. The rest of it's fly balls. So that can be a very effective strategy as well. And it's funny because when I was with the Cardinals, we were taught to only shoot for ground balls. That was the Dave Duncan strategy. But I think if you can get pop-ups like this, they're almost better. All right, let's get back into the solo shots here for the chat. Yeah, nobody's talking about Perdomo. That's what I was saying. I saw him on the WAR leaderboard, and I was like, man, Diamondbacks get no pub because you have almost 7 WAR season, and this is the first time I'm realizing it. And I watch as much baseball as anybody. I think that's crazy. Ooh, we like the Marco Strada shout out. Okay, if you could create a player, would you prefer a pitcher to be fly ball or ground ball? Oof. Well, no matter what, if it was elite create a player, they have to be striking guys out. That would be the number one attribute. But in terms of batted balls, I need a little more information. Like, can the guy hold runners or not? If he can't hold runners, I think I'd rather him be a fly ball pitcher because the ground balls then don't have any superpower for double plays, and the ground balls with guys on base aren't great with the way that the alignments are. But if I can hold runners, like if I could hold runners like David Peterson can hold runners or Taijuan Walker can hold runners and I'm a ground ball pitcher, then I think that plays great. So then I would choose ground ball because you're eliminating slug. It's a little bit of a give and a take. I obviously I built my game around ground balls besides strikeouts, but that was more because that's what worked for me. But you realize that there are guys, I mean, literally Hall of Fame guys like Verlander, even Scherzer to some extent, even Kershaw to some extent, that get a lot of fly balls. So that style can work for sure. It's just, depends on who you are with your attributes, and then you have to lean into what makes you special, makes you somewhat of an outlier if you can. All right, so that's the Giants. That was big. That was really big for the Giants because now in the wild card, like we talked about, here they are. They are 2 back. They're right in the mix. They're only half back of the Diamondbacks. So a lot of pressure on the Mets, man. They got 3 different teams that one of those 3 teams goes on a crazy run from here to the end. Goes 8-2 or 9-1 in the last 10. Then that requires the Mets to keep pace pretty well. So they got to go at least 6-4 in this last 10, if not 7-3, to feel pretty good, I think, mathematically, for the Mets. But you can't go 4-6. You open the door big time. Even 5-5 gets a little sketchy. But so it's interesting how this time of year starts to become a math problem as you go. All right. Tanner Scott, since trimming his beard a few nights ago, has given up 0 runs. I did watch a breakdown, an Instagram breakdown of the tipping. Remember, we tried to look at it the other day. This guy found a little something. I thought it was pretty interesting on Tanner Scott. He does a little head move. I'll show it really quick. And I wonder if he's still doing it, but probably not. You would think that the Dodgers would have had him fix it. But if you watch the sliders... Wait, this is not the game he gives up the grand salami, is it? Sorry, guys. So we need Giants and Dodgers. Where's the game he gives up the salami? It's the Yamamoto game? Yeah. All right. I'm just going to show the 2 pitches. But if you watch his head. Right before he delivers the pitch, there's a little like this move right here with the head, where he head nods. If he does that move right before delivering the pitch, it's a slider every time. So watch, he's going to do it. He's going to do a little head nod, and then here comes the slider. And then on the fastball, he doesn't do it. He just stays up the whole way and throws. That's pretty obvious to me now that I've seen it. It's just right here. I mean, he looks down initially, but that's just what he does. But once he comes back up, there's not an extra little head nod. He just holds it and then pitches it. And if you watch literally all the other pitches, like in this Jung-Hoo Lee at bat, because they're all sliders, watch the head nod right before the pitch. There was one. See? Head nod and then deliver. And then this one, watch him. Head nod, deliver. So he did this the whole time. All right, so now let's see if we can watch him from last night. So that was, who'd they play? Who'd the Dodgers play last night? They played the Phillies. Okay. Phillies and Dodgers. Scott. So let's just watch a couple pitches for Schwarber. So here's a slider. Let's see if we see the head nod. Ooh, no head nod this time. Slider again. No head nod. So they fixed it. This could be a big reason. Slider again, no head nod. Slider again. I think it's probably hard for him to not do it, but he's trying his hardest. Yep, slider, no head nods. That's a big difference, and he's nowhere near these pitches. Then let's look at this at bat with Castellanos. Slider, nothing. I'm waiting for a fastball. Slider again. Still nothing. So he definitely fixed it. I'm waiting for a fastball, though. Tell me you throw a fastball at some point, guy. All right, here's one. Of course, no camera angle. Here's one. So now it looks the same. Now there's no head nod. So, look, the guy's got great stuff, man. He's always had great stuff. He used to have bad command. That you can't blame it this year. He's got good command this year. He's throwing strikes. So it's something else, whether it's the comfortability, the pitch quality, but also maybe the head nod's been going on for a while. So I wanted to look at that for a second. If you could build a pitcher, would he have to a pronation bias or supination bias? Arm slot, would he be a big guy, small guy, high arm slot, low arm slot? I think big guy, no matter what, because I want to use extension and I want to be an intimidating force and just a large body to feel coming at you at the plate. That seems to always have played well. Kenley Jansen, Jonathan Broxton, just a lot of guys over the years. CC, big guys I think would be great. High arm slot, low arm slot. It does seem if you're like more in the 3/4 range, that gives you a little more diversity potential with your mix. I would love to be able to super pronate and super supinate. I'm sure there's some people that can do that. So that would be my choice. I wouldn't want to pick one or the other, but if I had to pick, I think most people would agree probably supination bias gives you a chance to throw a bigger mix. A more diversified mix. All right, talking wild card. Do you think Cubs can do some damage with or without the possibility of having Tucker? They will get booted early. I just think the Cubs pitching is a little bit of a weakness. I don't know who they're going to play yet. I think the matchup matters a lot. I like the Cubs lineup. I think the Cubs starting pitching, while they have some quality there, I don't think it's that I'm just going to come out and win the whole game and dominate you. I'm kind of surprised a team like LA isn't out in front of this with knowing their pitchers' tips. I mean, they probably were. Maybe they weren't. It's hard to say. And who knows if we even know the whole story. I'm going off of an Instagram breakdown, and then I watched it, and I was like, oh, yeah, it's there. But I don't know. LA, you would think they'd be on top of a lot of this stuff. The teams I was with were definitely on top of it for the most part. I mean, guys still do stuff because sometimes it's habits. Mizorowski is my build-a-team pitcher. He's just so good, needs to learn command. I mean, the stuff is crazy. I'll tell you that. The stuff is crazy. But yeah, it's a lot to reel in. All right, so we're here in the Dodger game. Let's watch Blake Snell. 112 pitches, 12 strikeouts. It's going to be a lot of curveballs in the dirt, I'm sure. Fastballs up, curveball, dirt, changeup. Excellent changeup as well. Going up against a dominant Phillies offense. Pops up Bader, first pitch. And, Blake Snell... he doesn't get enough credit for having an unbelievable four seam. But look at that, 21 inches of vert on the 4. And, that velocity is only going to go up, up, up as the game goes on. Then a strikeout of Schwarber here. Just beats him up top. Beautiful heater there. And then he's going to strike out Harper. So dominating first inning. Infield pop-up and 2 strikeouts. Here's that curveball. Gets it to the kill zone every time. We've been talking about it. And if this guy rounds into form, simply put, I think he's the hardest guy to hit in the big leagues. I think that's been shown over a large sample. He only really beats himself. Very rarely gets beat. His pitch mix is impossible to deal with. This changeup, you cannot look for this pitch, but this is an absolute equalizer because it's so different off the fastball. Has 10 miles an hour separation, about 10 miles an hour in vertical break. The angle he throws with hides it really good. And then the curveball swing and miss all day. I just think his presentation is about as good as it gets. And when he doesn't beat himself, Teams aren't beating him. Here's another curveball. Below the zone with perfect tilt. Punches out a good hitter. Max Kepler. This one's going to be the slider, so he really only holds this back for a few lefties. That's perfect execution. This ball looks like it's trending to the outside corner, and then you just run out of bat as it keeps sliding away. Now Otto Kemp for another punchy, another curveball. Another curveball down. Again, it plays so good off of the high fastball. This is probably the first curveball I've seen on him that looks like it has a little hump to it, but it's minor. But for the most part, it's just like when the fastball is up over here and then the curveball comes out of that same window and gets below or anywhere near below. It's just a lot. It's asking a lot of the hitter to cover that timing-wise. Because he's way out in front of this ball. So that's another punchy there. He ends up going for 12. Here's Weston Wilson. 97 on the fastball. So like I said, there's plenty in the tank fastball-wise. Ooh, and even gave it a mini Chapman here. Doorses him and gives him the little pose for a hot second. But absolutely in flow state at this point. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 strikeouts in a row. Now, Bryson Stott finally gets on base here with a fastball. That's what you got to do. Just use the whole field. Take your single. Good swing. And that gets Bader up here, who's been unbelievable for the Phillies. He's going to get a knock on a curveball. Really good job staying back, staying in his legs on this. This is something that I'm seeing Harrison do a much better job of. In my view, and I'd love to hear Harrison come on here. I invited him on. We're waiting to hear back. I would love to have him talk a little bit about some of his moves at the plate, because where I feel like he's often gotten in trouble is I feel like his stride and his linear move to the pitcher is usually a little too big, and it's still pretty big here, but I was seeing a lot of movement forward out of him, like a lot of movement, like him going forward, almost to the point where as he goes forward, he gets so much in his legs that he almost gets lower on the way to the plate, and then his bat would droop under high pitches, or he'd get himself way off timing, or he'd get himself stuck because he had too much of a stride. But in this case, his timing is really, really freaking good on it, and he's able to stay in his legs and ride out a curveball and drive it through the hole. So, whatever it is, it's been really working. All right, now Schwarber's going to get him for the second time, this time on a curveball. Got him on a heater the first time. Little front door curveball freeze piece. Not a pitch that he does often, but right pitch, right moment there. Harper, top of the fourth. Gets him out with the curveball. Gets him to ground it to Freddie. A lot of outs on curveballs so far. Now JT. Fly out on a changeup. For me, this is the pitch that won him the Cy Young the last time he won it. It was just all of a sudden going to changeups and fastball counts, getting quick outs with the changeup. It changed his whole game once he leaned into that changeup approach. And then he's going to finish the fourth with a second strikeout of Castellanos. Curveball. Perfect pitch. Let's watch all three pitches of this at bat. So he starts him with the changeup. Again, he uses his changeup as a contact pitch a lot of times early because he knows it's something that they're not sitting on. Loves the reaction to that pitch, so doubles up on it, gets the call. And now Castellanos has no idea what to look for. He goes to his patented curveball in the dirt, and Nick's just like, yep, that was not the at-bat I was looking for. All right, fifth inning, Kepler, he's going to get him again. Got him on a slider the first time, curveball the second time. Man, so good, so tight, such downward plane. And downward plane might be the wave. Everybody started chasing the low slot uphill plane. But after watching his Savage the other day and thinking about this a little bit, if you want to generate chase, downward plane might be the new meta because guys don't have swings built to handle that. So we might have already reached the point where the uphill pitch now is somewhat normalized. So unless you're really at the high end of that, there's diminishing returns. And maybe the downhill pitch is going to start to become a little bit of the thing to shoot for and the thing to look for with some of their dudes. All right, then we got Otto Kemp ground out. Yeah, Snell's chase rate's definitely high. We're going to check it again, and I'll check it, but Snell's been like a chase champion for a long time. Weston Wilson's going to punch. Change up. Yep, D bats him. What's better than that? You're going to need that bat, son. All right, Bryson Stott. Curveball. I also love the fact that they push him in this game, and obviously he fights for it. He gets to 112 pitches, but typically the Dodgers have such a dominant bullpen that they're not asking for as much out of their starters. But let's be honest, that's not the case right now. Right now, the bullpen is shaky, and the rotation is elite. So getting Blake armored up and ready to potentially handle a workload, good idea. Good idea in my opinion. Because every year the puzzle's a little different. Dodgers were able to bullpen it last year. They're going to have to do it a different way this year if they want to win it, in my opinion. Damn. The fact that Schwarber even got to that ball is kind of amazing. And I think you can see Snell's reaction. He can't believe it. He knows it's too high, though. That's excellent read off the bat. He knew it was too high. All right, so 7th inning. Harper ground out. The other reason why you got to love him is just throwing with that left hand and throwing with that goofy hand. Because a lot of the best hitters in the game on the best teams, a.k.a. the Phillies, are left-handed. Schwarber and Harper. You know, a lot of the other teams, too. You run into the Mets. You turn Lindor around. You get Soto. You get Nimmo. It's good. All right, change up here. Another exactly what you would expect out of the changeup. Gets him out front, even though he hits this ball really well. It's not enough. Only 99.5. Hard to drive a changeup. Now he walks Castellanos and Kepler. And then Dave Roberts comes out to the mound, decides to let him go. Well, so let's watch this whole last at-bat that he begged in for. First Otto Kemp. Change up down. Pretty good take. I was going to come back with that heater. This is probably the riskiest pitch of the game, given that a home run beats you. So he doesn't come right with it. He comes middle in and ends up skirting it off the corner. Good take, though. But now he's kind of stepped in it a little bit. He's 2-0 here in this spot. Let's see how he digs out of it. Ooh, a 2-0 challenge heater. Good thing you have a great heater because that was kind of a predictable fastball in a predictable moment. And he's able to get a foul ball on it. So that's huge. Now he's going to go back to his bread and butter, the curveball. Gets him to pull it foul. And now he's going to blow him away up top. Reaches back for a little more. Gets that strikeout. Needed it. Roberts loves it. Giving him the... Just feeling it a little bit. Big moment, though. Huge for Blake. Not too often in his career he's ever been allowed to just keep going. That felt good. He threw a great game. He didn't want to go out on that sour note with those 2 walks, Castellanos and Kepler. So he punches him out. Let's go look at him a little bit while we're talking about him. Yeah, chase rate 93rd percentile. 93rd. Let's go through the years. Chase rate. So it's ebbed and it's flowed. 81 last year, 38 the year before, 62. But in his good years, he's generating chase for sure. 98th percentile in 2019. Is that the year he won the Cy Young for the Rays? Okay, good question, Jaden, because we talked about Snell quite a bit since we've been doing this show, because I've watched now 3 or 4 of his games. We can go ahead and we can watch an at-bat to give you a better idea of how it goes. So the fastball, when he's facing righties for the most part, he likes to throw his strikes on the inner third to speed guys up, which sets up the changeup away, but it also sets up the curveball chase down here in the dirt. The other spot, like he likes to go with the four seam, is the up away spot. Now, a lot of times he goes to it for the swing through, but the reason why this spot is so important is because it tunnels perfectly with his curveball, which for the most part he wants to either backdoor in the zone, and really he wants to throw below the zone. So that's how the fastball is going to work to set up a few things. The beautiful thing about Snell is that he already has this high arm angle. So because he's doing the drive down effect similar to a Savage, similar to a lot of guys, there's not really any hump out of the hand when he goes to the chase pitch. So you're not going to be able to discern change up out of the hand or curveball out of the hand relative to the fastball, because he's got spin mirroring going on, but he also has arm slot, a little bit of arm slot deception with the way the ball's always trending down out of hand. So you notice that with the fastball, and then you'll notice it with the other pitches. Changeup comes. It's the same thing, though, out of hand. It trends down just like the fastball. The only difference is it peters out and doesn't make it. So Bader doesn't swing at this because it's a little too low. Like, that's very low. But if that ball's anywhere close to the zone, pretty good chance he's swinging, and that's hiding the break of that very well. Now he comes back with another changeup to demonstrate that point. It's a little bit closer to the zone, and you see how far out in front of it he is. That was all set up by the fact that he kind of anchored Bader's timing on an inside fastball with that first pitch strike that he drilled in here. The same pitch now, and this angle is going to come out looking like it's trending to that area, and then it's going to fade to the outside corner and peter out because it's about 10 miles an hour slower, leaving the batter way out in front. So that's how the fastball and the changeup interact. Throws another one here. Emergency hack there. Doesn't even know what he was doing. Both guys got a chuckle out of that. And then here's where the curveball plays in. So now the curveball comes out of that same basic tunnel. Looks the same out of the hand as the others. Start trending down right away out of the hand, right? But to this point, everything that's come out of the hand over there, that it's kind of hung around the zone here, or it's been way too low. This pitch comes out hot, so he thinks it's like kind of the same pitch he's been looking at recently, except this pitch goes straight down and hits the ground. So that's kind of how the pitches interact. And if he would have gotten a take there, then he's even more opened up for other things. Low fastball, even the high up and away swing through. Really, that first pitch fastball in set up everything in this at bat. And that's kind of how his pitches interact to righties. To lefties, it's just a little more straightforward. It's really hard to hit his fastball, left on left, and his slider and his curveball. So he just kind of reads the hitter's timing, left on left. But right on right, if he can get ahead with the fastball, particularly in, big trouble, big trouble. And that's why most teams take a lot against Blake Snell, and they hope that he throws balls and they get him in better, more predictable counts, because swings don't yield a lot. If you go look at Blake Snell, it's actually more interesting on reference probably. Just because you can go look at like the hits per nine. Like, yeah, he's led the league in least hits per nine twice. 5.6 in the Cy Young year there, and 5.8 in the Cy Young year there. Even 5.6 last year in 2024 hits per nine. So when you're doing that, teams are going to find a way to combat it. Usually they're going to try to walk, and I think that's why his walk rate is inflated more so than an overall lack of command. I think he gets a lot of foul balls. I think he gets a lot of guys going up there hoping to walk. And it's frustrating when you have to throw everything over the plate because guys are like, I'm sick of chasing against this guy. I can't stop swinging. But for the most part, he forces you to swing because he gets ahead in the count and he just dominates you. And that's why I am so high on Blake Snell. You know, I feel like he doesn't get the credit he deserves. 2-time Cy Young Award winner, won in both leagues. He's going to make a huge impact in this playoffs one way or another because the Dodgers need him. And his back-to-back last two starts, look at this. 7 innings, 12 strikeouts. And the game before, 6 innings, 11 strikeouts. So that's pretty damn good. Only 2 hits in each start, only 2 walks in each start. Trending well, along with the rest of the Dodgers. It looks like the changeup intent is lower than the fastball. You're right. It does. And some guys, like the true masters, like a Tommy Canley, are pretty good at not giving away the intent on the changeup or the curveball. But for the most part, guys do slow down. They just do it pretty late, where the hitter can't really notice it in real time or trust it. It's more something that you notice watching at home when you don't have to also be picking up the ball coming at you. So I think there's different levels to this. Some of these guys do slow down a little bit with their intent, but it's pretty late generally. Pretty late generally. Anything else you guys want me to pop in and see real quick? We're hour 12 in. I got a little more time. But I'll also go ahead and look at the scores a little bit and see what I'm missing. Mets didn't win. Padres played a pretty good game. Machado had a big grand slam. That was a big one. Reds. Speaking of Tommy, what's affected him the second half? Tommy Kane's. Big Kane. I think he's actually pitched a little better lately. But yeah, he had a stretch there where he gave up a bunch of runs. It's just crazy. It's hard to do this. 85% changeup. I haven't watched a lot of his games, admittedly, this year. I haven't watched a ton of Tigers, but I do think at some point he would probably tell you that it's going to expire, the ability to just throw changeups. You're going to have to land some fastballs. This is a little weird for him, too. The walk rate, not as good as we're used to seeing. Chase rate's not there as much. They're forcing him into the zone. And everybody kind of knows what he does now. Also, I think the velo's down on the four seam for where it used to be. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, the velo's finally dropped. 93.5 this year on the four. Last year, 94.2, 95.3 before that, 95.7, and it just was crazy for before that. 96.4. 97.8 in 2017, 97.2 in 2016. So yeah, it's been a little bit of a drop off, and we all know if you don't have as fast of a fastball, it affects your other pitches too. Looks like Seattle and Houston's going to go down to the wire. It really is. I'm curious about the some of the schedule stuff coming up. That's a good something maybe to look at. How do we get a good look at the sketch? All right, so the new series are all starting tomorrow, or some of them today. So it's Astros at Marlins. Good matchup for them. And then the Rangers are at the Padres. So they're kind of cooked. And then what about Seattle? Seattle is still in Kansas City. They're not playing today. Then they have Cincinnati. Those are big games for Cincinnati, but they're in Seattle. So yes, I do think this is going to go down to the wire between these teams for the division. Houston and Seattle. I don't know if they play each other. That would be awesome. That would be fun. That'd be like a playoff before the playoff. But yeah, they're right next to each other. I think they're a half game separated right now. Yeah, half game. Well, Seattle has one more game today versus Kansas City. And then Houston versus Seattle. Oh, so it's about to go down. How did I read that wrong? Houston versus Seattle, September 19th. So, great. We're about to get a showdown between these two teams. I love that. That is awesome. Did Cal go off again? Royals, Mariners. No, just got one hit. I know he hit the 2 home runs the other day. Easiest MLB stadium to pitch in. It also has the best mound. Yankees have the best mound. That's not even really close. They have like the best clay, and that's where my best numbers are. So you could say that's the easiest, but it's probably not the easiest. The easiest is probably maybe Miami. You got predictable movement in the dome, pretty big park, ball doesn't fly. Maybe Miami. I like pitching there. Oh, wow. Otto, I had no idea you're doing YouTube. Would love to do a collaboration with you this offseason. Also, honest take, if the Yankees have to play Houston in the wild card round, what is your prediction? Well, thank you for this. I didn't even know I could do these supers or whatever. I clicked some buttons yesterday, so that's cool. I really appreciate that, Grunt Baseball. My honest take, I think the Yankees have a great shot in that matchup. They've seen a lot of Framber Valdez. That's who they're going to get. The Yankees got a good shot in a little short series because they got Fried and Rodon. And I like the way the bullpen has pitched the last few nights. Weaver looked a lot better last night. Yankee offense. I would be picking the Yankees versus Houston. I really would. I know Houston's good, but they're not going to have Yordan. It looks like that's a huge factor. Yordan's like Judge. He's got a gravitation to him. He's a tough guy to deal with. So I think I would be picking the Yankees over Houston this time around. I know there's some skeletons in these closets, but I'd be picking the Yankees this time around versus Houston in a short series for sure. But anything can happen, man. These games are crazy. Well, I really appreciate you coming through. That's awesome. That's amazing. I'll look into this. I'm definitely going to be doing some off-season stuff, so we'll figure something out, perhaps. This YouTube thing is awesome. Really fun. These chats have been great. The viewers have gone up all the time. So this is great. Favorite teammates you ever played with? This is funny. It's a funny question. Because I have so many, and a lot of them I'm trying to get onto the show. But there's actually a funny thing here that if you go look at it, this is the last thing I'll do before Probables, because I think the boss is coming to kick me out here in a second. What's up, boss? You want to come say hi?
No.
What's this?
Tea.
Pumpkins?
Yeah.
More?
Yeah.
All right, give me a minute. Tell Mom I said yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's a funny thing here. If you go to there's a visual thing for like teammates. I want to look at this. Teammates. So you'll notice that my number one teammate that's going to come up is my good friend DJ LeMahieu. This is my matrix of players that I played the longest with. Now, most of these guys are Rockies. LeMahieu takes the cake, though, because it's basically 9 seasons together. Wow, did I just click on DJ by accident? So, yeah, we've played 9 seasons together. Carlos Gonzalez is somebody I'm hoping to get on the pod for my Venezuelans out there. But you can see it's all Rockies guys. But these are like the guys I played with the longest. And just looking at this list, a lot of brothers on this list. You know, DJ, Cargo, Charlie, Chad Bettis, Nolan, of course, Christian Friedrich. This guy right here, Daniel Descalzo, current bench coach for the Cardinals. We came up together in the minors. So I also can't forget about my minor league teammates, John Jay, Jim Rappaport, Chris Perez, Shane Robinson, Alan Craig. Those are my guys. Lance Lynn. But also this guy right here, Scott Oberg was my homie too. What's up? All right, give me 2 minutes. Okay? Scott Oberg was my homie in the bullpen for a long time with the Rockies. So that's just a few with the Rockies. Then, you know, I had great teammates with the Mets, of course, really close with a lot of guys over there. Peterson, Drew Smith, Sugar, you know, Nimmo. Really all the boys over there. DeGrom when he was there. Scherz. Had a great time with them. Yankees guys, I was close with Gardy, Judge, all my bullpen guys when I was there. You know, Britton, Canley, Chad Green, Chapman, Sessa. Love me some Sessa. So the list goes on and on. Whitlock with the Red Sox, Evaldi, Garrett Richards. There's just so many guys. I've been lucky to have a lot of really awesome teammates over the years. Jorge De La Rosa was a great dude. Just looking at this, Rex Brothers, Herman Marquez, Jordan Pacheco. I mean, the list goes on. I've been lucky. I played with some awesome dudes. So, yep, Garrett Cole, of course. There's so many. So, hard to name the best of the best. Wade Davis. I mean, this list can go on forever. But I did play the longest, so that counts for something with my guy, the Machine, DJ LeMahieu. 9 seasons. Do I have a player I wish I could have been teammates with? I mean, yeah, probably. Trying to think about that a little bit, but there's so many. I've been waiting and watching all year to conduct a study on this year's offensive output as compared to different years on pitches. Okay. Curious what you got there. Yeah, Cargo, one of the best left-handed swings of all time. I actually have him. I had him pulled up already with some stuff. All right, so it's time to go though. Let's go do probables. Where should I look to find better specific data sets? I would also, it's also a fun place to look at really quick is just to go look at the park factors and try to see what you can find a little bit in here. There's a lot of fascinating stuff in there. That would be my recommendation. But, the ball's been changing every year. This is something that we really used to get stressed out about as players, but it seems like it's inevitable now. The ball will be a little different every year, and you just have to keep adjusting. All right, Guardians, Tigers. Can the Guardians keep doing it? They have to face Scooble today. Bye-bye, Scooble. Yeah, I'm finishing up right now. One more minute. Randy Vasquez, Jonah Tong. So Tong's getting back out there. This is a big game. This is a 1 o'clock game today for the Metros. This is a big game. And Tong didn't make it out of the first inning last game. So let's see how this goes. We got Seabass and Shane Baz. Toronto looking to continue to march towards the AL East. Down there in Tampa, we got JT Ginn and Brian Bayo. Huge game for the Red Sox in Fenway. Castillo and Kolek, Mariners trying to finish out their road trip strong versus the Royals. Sandy in Colorado versus Tanner Gordon. Cubs, Reds, TBA, Hunter Green. Big game for the Reds. Every game's a big game for the Reds from here on out. Here's this Yankees-Orioles matchup. I was looking at this series. Yankees need to win this game. They have some tough matchups actually later in the series with Bradish and Tyler Rogers. So it's a big one when they're facing Povich. So Fried, Povich. Angels, Brewers, Kikuchi, and Priester. Brewers don't lose with Priester on the mound. We'll see if that continues. And then just a great matchup of the two aces, Logan Webb and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, coming off of two dominant starts. So we will check in on that. That is it for me today. I got to go. I'm getting kicked out by the boss. I will see you guys on Baseball After Dark on Saturday, or catch me tomorrow on the MLB stream at 10:30. But Baseball After Dark Saturday night, that one's been great. Hopefully I'll get another video up there. I just got to figure out what to make it on. So thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for hanging today. You guys are the best. See you later.